Hello, welcome, and sorry. Welcome back, everybody. Happy Friday. This is the Maple Bitcoin live stream. I'm Jor. I'm joined by my good buddies Forrest and Rajat. And this one's titled Your Last Chance to Buy Bitcoin Under 100K. On Maple, anyways. Rajat always has a different title. What's your title today, Rajat?
I did the same title, but I added a question mark at the end.
I had a question mark there too, but I took it off.
I did the same thing.
You added a question mark?
Is this your last chance with a question mark?
I like it.
All right. Well, cheers, everybody. Happy Friday. It's going to be a good show today. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. The price, the exchange rate of Bitcoin is down, but our sentiment is not here, just like every week here. So it's good to see everybody in the chat. We're going to spend the first part of the show here talking about a couple different matters. I see Rajat just brought up a screen here to start with for the fear and greed. And then, like usual, we'll get some questions at the end if we have some time and if we have the capacity for it. So let's kick things off here, Rajat. What's going on? Are people greedy or fearful right now?
Discount.
Yeah.
We get it. So we get to buy Bitcoin at a discount. What's wrong with that?
Yeah, I saw a meme yesterday that was like, it was like two stick figures and they were both happy. And it was like Bitcoiners when the price goes up and Bitcoiners when the price goes down. It's like when you really understand what Bitcoin is and you understand that this is literally getting it at a discount. Anytime the price goes down, you're able to get more of it.
That's it.
I think there is like a nuance with that, of course, because not everybody is in their earning years. Not everybody is acquiring Bitcoin, and their net worth is maybe more important than their income at a certain stage. And if that's the case, then you see your net worth going down and you're not excited about being able to get more because you don't have income, right? That can definitely be the case. But I think a lot of us should reframe it. And actually, our net worth is less important than our ability to acquire assets and build our net worth over time, right? It's sort of a reframing that needs to happen.
Great point. Yeah, I mean, our major demographic is probably 30 to 50-year-olds. So that demographic, it's a gift. It's an absolute blessing right now. And we actually filmed a video of the three of us yesterday, which will hopefully come out in the next week or two here. But we came up with a new kind of strategy based on this fear and greed index, kind of like an intelligent DCA, dollar cost average, for people out there who are buying Bitcoin regularly. And Rajat, you also had a chart that basically showed the comparison to the fear and greed with the price. Do you have that available? Oh, it's right here.
Oh, that was the one that. Sorry, what was that?
Forrest.
Do you have that link for us? Maybe I can just pull it up.
Yeah, it's CoinMarketCap has that chart, so I'll just share that with the private chat here. There you go.
So I think this is a really good frame of reference to think about when people are buying. I'm assuming most people watching the show today are kind of in the accumulation phase of Bitcoin, like we are. Like Forrest alluded to there, the people who are still working and getting income every week. And if you're still in that kind of mode right now, this is a blessing because you take those dollars and you actually get more sats for the same amount of dollars. And so there's a lot of people who DCA weekly, daily, some hourly even. But Forrest, maybe break down kind of what we were talking about in terms of the intelligent DCA here.
Yeah, sure. And I'll just say also that the index here is out of 100, but this index is actually showing higher than the other one. And I'm not sure if that just rebases at a different time of day or if the metrics and indicators that either one of these use are slightly different. So you might want to take a look at a few of these and look at the inputs of how this is measured. But essentially what we came up with here is if you look at that chart, so that's how the
how it's calculated.
Yeah, which is important to look at. But yeah, if you look at this chart, you can actually see the colored lines there are Bitcoin's price. Or sorry, no, that's the fear and greed index, and the gray line is Bitcoin's price. And if you just go to the extreme greed, which is the dark green, you can see that is almost always an indicator, and in this case, for this time period, it is an indicator of a local top. And then because of this index, the fear and greed index measures a bunch of things, but it's supposed to show sentiment. And so you can see there's a local top with the extreme greed, But then the price just kind of trades sideways after that first extreme greed moment. But the fear and greed index goes down. And that's because sentiment is no longer extremely bullish. So the price is the same, right? The price is the same as it was in extreme greed in that case, but people don't care about it as much because nothing's happening with the price. So the index goes down.
Yeah, actually, a perfect example here would be this number here. So yearly high for extreme for the sentiment. You can see here it was 88 when price was at 94,334. November 20th, 2024. Wow. And the funny thing is that what's the price today?
Like
it's like 94,
95, yeah.
So
I mean,
here a year ago it was at extreme greed at the same price.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. I mean, exactly it, right? Like this is not a measurement of price; it's a measurement of sentiment. And when you overlay price with it, it starts to paint these really interesting pictures about how we're so upset. But think about the sentiment in the market, right? Like this one of these indicators that builds this is actually social media posts, and people are going nuts right now about the price falling to 95,000. And back when it was extreme greed and we were climbing to 95,000, people were going nuts in the opposite direction. So this indicator is really, really useful and really helps you kind of reframe again, because what the mistakes you can make largely, I mean, besides leaving your coins on exchange or not learning self-custody properly, the mistakes you can make are being very emotional about your position of assets. And when you look at this and you realize, okay, we're in extreme fear, that means that, and I'm feeling afraid of Bitcoin's price, but this has actually signaled incredible buying opportunities. So if you look at the extreme fear, the times when it's been in extreme fear, that was right before the price went way up, right? It was, if you look at the sort of double bottom of the extreme fear on that chart, what was the price, Rajat? It was maybe 88,000 or something. Yeah, right there.
Are you talking about here?
Yeah.
Sorry, the bottom of the extreme fear?
Yeah. So what was the Bitcoin's price there?
Oh, here it was 78,000.
78. And then when it went up to greed, it didn't even go to extreme greed. What is that sort of like
here?
Local top there? Yeah.
And here?
Yeah.
104,000.
104. And that's within weeks. Like that's an incredible buying opportunity to move up that quickly in your position.
Yeah.
And so it's sort of like the sentiment can be a counter indicator. That's like one of the best trades people make is to use general market sentiment as a counter indicator. So whenever it's that Warren Buffett quote, be greedy when others are fearful, be fearful when others are greedy, right? And this is exactly what this indicator is supposed to measure.
Yeah, I think it's important when you think about it, because you could actually trade off of this, right, Forrest? I think you made a video about this recently, about trading based on the fear and greed index. I think most people here, myself included, are not in the business of trading. And so when it does get up in the extreme greed, I mean, good, my net worth's up. Maybe I'll spend some of my Bitcoin. Maybe I'll buy a couple things that I've been putting off for the last year, whatever that is. But I do really think that the people out there who are accumulating sats like we are, you could use this extreme fear to essentially double or triple or even more your DCAs. And that's kind of what we were talking about with the intelligence strategy, is for people who are still buying sats. And so essentially what you would do there is you would choose a time every day, and you would basically buy your DCA, the amount based on where the extreme or the fear and greed index is. So if it's in the greens, maybe you buy a little bit less than you otherwise would have. Maybe you have like a baseline of say $10 that you buy every day. If it's green, maybe you buy $5 worth. But when it's red, that's when you go into $15 or $20 worth instead. And you actually can take advantage of that. And I actually had, I bought $42 worth. So one thing I started to do on my daily show recently, do you want to just take this off for a sec, Rajat?
Yeah.
One thing I started to do on the daily show recently is, where is this now? There it is. We started doing some smash buys. And so you can see here that between yesterday and today, I bought $42 yesterday because the price was at 98, I think. And then I bought $42 worth this morning. And you can see there the difference in using something like that. And you'd be able to tell this by the extreme greed and fear index too. So it might not seem like a lot today, like the difference between 30,460 and 29,709 sats. But I mean, if you play this out a couple decades and you're really in the business of accumulating here and you're going to put those in your cold storage and it's going to sit there for your family, that's massive. Like if you fall in their same theory that eventually one day, I don't know if it's 50 or 100 or whatever it is, one of these sats is going to have the purchasing power of $1. That's $800 just because you were buying intelligently, essentially, instead of just, same thing every day or same thing every week. You can use this fear greed index to actually make smarter, more intelligent decisions that will have lasting impacts for your family, I think, in the future.
Yeah.
And if we the other thing I'll just say here is using the fear and greed index is really, really helpful. But you have to be aware of how volatile that index is, because if you actually remember that chart, or if we want to pull it back up, if we can,
Do you have
people talk about how volatile Bitcoin's price is, but Bitcoin's price is underlaid there in the same time frame, and it looks incredibly chill compared to that wild swinging of the fear and greed index. So you can see there's these moments of fear or extreme fear, and then the next day it rockets up to neutral or greed in one single trading day, based on sentiment, right? So that's the sort of the problem with trying to trade this. I think it works really good for an indicator of when to buy more, as Jor was just talking about. But trying to time something that is this volatile with actually buying and selling based on sentiment is probably going to get you wrecked. And because it's going to drop down out of extreme greed or greed really quickly, but Bitcoin's price is not going to follow, because Bitcoin's price could just trade sideways and sentiment is dropping. Right. So it's not a great indicator. And if you look at these, every time we're in extreme greed, it's still not a good time to sell, because this asset is moving up and to the right over time. I mean, in relation to extreme fear, it could be a good time to do like these small swing tradings, but overall the best strategy with Bitcoin is to hold it and to not sell if you can. So to me, this is an indicator that is best used for double dipping your buys, or for trying to time additional buys if you already have a dollar cost average strategy going.
I got a tweet from I got a post on one of my a response on one of my tweets from somebody who actually helped to orange pill me, and he really got me thinking about Bitcoin. So I want to show you something. I want to show you what he said. So this is a response from a post that I made. Since mid-October, Bitcoin has gone from 126K to 94K. That's a drop of 25.5%. 20 to 35% pullbacks are normal during bull markets. Use this as an opportunity to stack more. So this is the response that they gave. If you buy at this level, you're a complete amateur and you have no idea what you're doing. You might as well go donate the money to your local homeless shelter. So I thought that was a stupid response. I thought that was probably one of the dumbest things that somebody could say. So I said, people were saying the same stupid shit back when I was buying Bitcoin at 73K in March. I meant 2024. And 48K after the ETFs were launched. Do you guys remember everybody saying, oh, it's a sell the news event. It's a sell the news event. It's going lower, right? Everybody was saying that. They're like, oh, you're stupid for buying now because this is exit liquidity. They're just looking for exit liquidity. You buy at every price because you have no idea what's going to happen in the short term. You don't know what's going to happen to Bitcoin. It's like this thing, right? You have no idea where the fear and greed is going to go tomorrow. For all we know, Bitcoin could close tonight at 100K and it's back up to like 50, right? And then, so one of my friends, this guy was one who really got me to start thinking about Bitcoin. So he said, the herds think in months, the believers think in decades. This is why this is why herd holdings are being eaten and never coming back. Average people, businesses, institutions, and high net worth individuals are gobbling it up at any price. If they truly understood, they'd be thinking in decades as well. Completely true. I agree with this 100%.
I agree with it too. And this is like, where the fear, using the fear and greed index to buy more is sort of like a nuanced additional strategy. But this post that you posted here basically just says you don't even have to do that. Like, you can just buy and think in decades. Like, you don't have to be cute or do additional understanding of these metrics and understanding when something's oversold or overbought or whatever. It's just You just buy and hold and you'll be fine. You can do additional things if you want, as long as that additional thing, I mean, where you can get screwed is when you sell your Bitcoin and you have to try to time the market to buy back in. It works for 10% of the people that do it, and you hear those success stories, but then 90% of the people that do it end up with less Bitcoin. And those people aren't as willing to share the fact that they were stupid, right? People are, it's sort of a survivorship bias, right? Like people really want to say when, oh, I did something right, I did something smart, I sold at the top, I bought back, I got more Bitcoin. They're pretty eager to share that, but people are definitely eager to hide the fact that they now have less Bitcoin because they did not time it correctly.
I think all you really need to know is that when the price is coming down, it just means that there's more sellers than buyers. There's more Bitcoin available to be bought than to be sold. And the people who want to sell it, they're just panicking. They're thinking, oh, if I don't sell now, then I'm not going to be able to sell till later. People think that, oh, the four-year market is going to hold 4-year cycle. They think that this is going to go a lot lower. And even if it does, that's perfectly fine because it's just an incentive for you to come to the market and buy more. That's it. That's all you have to, like, you don't have to do anything else here. All you do is you buy. That's it. Like you don't have to time the market. You don't have to think of it like, oh, the price is too high, the price is too low. It's gonna drop another 4.3%. It's gonna do this and do that. Who cares? It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, if you had, let's say 10 years from now, if one Bitcoin is worth $1 million, you're not gonna care if you bought at $106,000 versus $94,000. All you're gonna care is you have a certain amount of Bitcoin. Like if you get to 0.1 Bitcoin, that's all you care about. You don't care about, oh, I bought at an average price of 96.3K. It doesn't matter. That only matters if you really value fiat, and fiat is trash.
It's really well said.
Yeah, and if you are, I'm sure everybody watching the show today has some sort of a goal that they want to hit in Bitcoin, whether it's 50 million sats, 1 Bitcoin, 10 Bitcoin, whatever that is. It's extremely harder, even in comparison to like $95,000 Bitcoin versus $125,000 Bitcoin, which isn't that big of a difference. But in terms of your ability to actually stack a significant amount and the dollars going further, like these are the days that you really need to be, if you have anything in the bank, put it in there. If you have any other assets and any other portfolios right now, put it in there. These are the times when you actually can make hay in Bitcoin. And for some reason, people are mad about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's crazy. But one of the other things I wanted to talk about was this letter from, speaking of selling everything else, this is a letter that came from Michael Burry. I'm sure most people have heard of him. He was the guy who shorted the housing market in 2006, I think, which eventually crashed in 2008. But he basically shut down his investment fund this week. He said, investors with a heavy heart, I'm going to liquidate the funds and return all of your capital by year's end. This is the important part. My estimation of value in securities is not now and has not been for some time in sync with the markets. In plain speak, that means he has no idea what the heck's going on and nothing makes sense in the financial markets. So I think that there's a little bit more here. I want to dive into this a little bit, boys, because the stock market right now, Forrest, you were kind of talking about some numbers beforehand, but it just seems like it's laughable at some of the valuations of these companies, and it's coming down a little bit, I think. But I don't know. There's just so many people out there. I think the average person, they go to work, they put a portion of their retirement into the stock market, these different indexes and funds, and I don't think that they have any clue what they're investing in. I think that's a major problem across society, is just a lack of financial literacy and lack of actually being aware of what you own. So, and I'm guilty of that myself too. Like I spent 10 years working a job, having a retirement fund. And I remember getting statements and just looking at it and be like, I have no idea what any of these things are. Or why am I invested in any of this stuff? So it's like, that's where the majority of the capital is. A very serious investor and somebody who's been read a lot in the past is basically saying that the math isn't mathing right now. Nothing's making sense. And so instead of trying to short or get cute or anything, he's just like, I'm out. I don't want my name attached to anything that's going to play out here in the next couple of years. I'm toast. I'm done.
Yeah.
He's had one amazing, incredible call that was very painful for him. If you watch The Big Short, or if you read into history, he was wrong for 2 years because they were trying to hide the fact that these mortgages were underwater and all these hedge funds were over leveraged and stuff. He has predicted 9 out of the last 2 recessions, right? That's the kind of what people point out to him, right? So he over predicts these calls. Famously, in January of 2023, he posted a one-word tweet saying "sell," and since then, the S&P 500 is up 78%. So I would just say
In fiat.
yeah, sure, in fiat, but it was a terrible time to sell.
Yeah.
Right? Like literally, that was like this is January right here. That's like as much of a bottom as you could get, basically, within you know, a yearly time frame. Yeah, so monumental run within the 1 year. There was a correction because of carry trade and such, and then so on, right? So I would just I don't know. He's had a legendary call, but you know, in there he talked about how his valuation of companies is not making sense in the market anymore, or the market's not making sense when how he evaluates companies, which I think you know, when that happens, you do need to step away, because like he's recognized that basically he can't figure out the market right now. And the market can stay irrational for a very, very long time, right? Like these companies are incredibly expensive. And that's because everybody's, well, there's lots of reasons for it. One is that people need to invest into something. So there's just money flowing into stuff regardless. The other thing is there's a lot of the value is on this future potential of technology. And that is so uncertain whether that gets actualized in any real meaningful way. So yeah, I mean, I just don't think it's the environment that somebody that is able to call bullshit on the housing market can thrive in, right? Like it's a very tough market to, yeah. I mean, it's so hard. Shorting the timing, a short in the market, in any market, is like so difficult, like so difficult. So what he did was amazing, but again, took 2 years for it to really pan out.
There's a post there from All Cap No Break. If you want to pull it up, Jor. He said, no disrespect taken. I sold the top and will now go out and touch grass for a yearish, buy as close to the bottom as I can, and then ride it back to the top of the next cycle. There's a lot of assumptions being made here. What if the cycles have changed?
They have.
Right?
They
What
have.
if by the okay, so let's say you sold at 126K, and you didn't get shaken out. You actually made the right decision there to sell it at 126K. Congrats to you for making that decision. But let's say you're out for the next year, you stop paying attention to Bitcoin. Number one, you might spend that money on something else. Like you might not even have the money at that point. So that's a problem. Number two, what if your timing is wrong? What if we actually made a video about this yesterday where we talked about how the cycles may not be the same again. What if the 4-year cycle is broken? And of course, I mean, somebody could probably clip this and just say, "Oh, this guy's an idiot. He said that the 4-year cycles are broken, but they're actually not." Let's say 2 months from now, Bitcoin actually does go to like 70K. But what if that doesn't happen? And what if you end up being wrong? What if it goes to like 150K instead, and you're just sitting on the sidelines? Now you can buy 2/3 of the Bitcoin that you could buy today. That's going to be really unfortunate. And there's nobody, I mean, you're taking the risk. You also get the reward if it goes lower, but you also get the losses if it doesn't go lower.
I think it's a good idea to actually take a look at the 4-year cycles. So I just brought up another chart there, and kind of explain what's going on here. So the 4-year cycle is 3 green years, 1 red year. So you can kind of see that started to play out here since 2014. 3 greens, 1 red, 3 greens, 1 red, 2. And this is the 3rd year that we're on now. So this year ends obviously in December, right? Calendar year. We're pretty close to being in the red, right? If Bitcoin ends the year at 90, 93, 94, something like that, right? I'd have to zoom in and really get it. But that means that the cycles are broken, right? The cycles are broken. And I would actually say there's lots of indicators that, like, you know, you factor in the massive amounts of inflation that's happened in this time period comparatively to these time periods. Like obviously there's inflation happening here, but 2020, onward, there was massive amounts of inflation, and in like real terms, this year was a bear market. I don't know. Like I think we've
Agreed.
had the bear market that people are like. I think the bear market almost went unnoticed, and it was this year, and that's just going to prime us for next year, in my opinion.
Well, look at, I mean, even I feel like I've talked about this for the last 4 weeks straight, but look at the price in gold. Like it's 20 some ounces for one Bitcoin right now. Like it's way down. And I just think that, you know, if we go back to after we see this. So how many ounces is it? 22 right now? 23?
23, yeah, 23.3.
And the all-time high was like 35, I think.
Yeah,
Something like that.
38.
I think it was like 30. Oh, it was 38. I think.
Wow.
So we're 40% down price in gold
So
since
this
the all-time
is like
high.
right now, this moment I would say is like pretty much a bear market, as close as you would get to a bear market right now. And we're around $100,000.
And I guess the question is, right, like here in 2021 to 2022, that was a 70% correction. Do we have that? Is this the beginning of the bear market? I think that's what a lot of people are worried about.
What's it down right now?
It's down 40%.
Yeah.
So if it goes down to 6 or 70 where it went before, I mean, I don't think that's realistic because well, you can see here, like these all look the same. Like Bitcoin has not had the run versus sound money that it deserves.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. In my eyes, we're looking close to a bottom already, in my opinion. But
Well,
I could be wrong.
based on this, based on the fear and greed index too, I'm guessing you'd say the same, Forrest.
Yeah, I mean, it looks to me like it's going to be a buying opportunity here. Looking back, like in the future, we'll look back at this and think, yeah, we should have bought.
And if we think back to Rajat's tweet there that he had up there, do you want to bring that up again? Do you have it available, Rajat?
Let me pull it up
from your buddy there.
Yeah,
because to me, a comment like that, saying that they're going to sell now and touch grass for a year, I mean, that's pretty much herd. That's a herd mentality to me. That's thinking in months right now, and maybe a year, right? So that's kind of what we're talking about here, is that if you're thinking in terms of decades, believers and really wealthy people, they think in decades. So you know, if we're getting too caught up in the months and years and this different stuff, it's whatever. But you know, I just think that the one theme that I've noticed so far, based on the first half hour here, is that it just never really makes sense to sell. What are you selling into? And that's maybe what Burry's going through right now too, is like, if he thinks that the market's going to collapse, he doesn't really know where to go. I mean, Forrest, you said that shorting is the hardest thing to do. And I think that I saw actually somebody had an opinion on it, saying now that he shut down the fund, he can basically either hold cash or he can actually short the market by himself, but he doesn't have to worry about all the regulators. He doesn't have to worry about all the partners involved in the investment fund. He can just do that kind of on his own. I think where that led for me anyways, was that there's no trade within the financial system today that makes sense. And the reason why the three of us love Bitcoin so much is because it's completely detached from that financial system. And so if Burry's, whether he's right or wrong, I would agree, just based on everything that I'm seeing. If you look at the PE ratios, it just seems like insane right now. And so if you think about it in that terms, then it's like, okay, you have everything else. You have stock market, you have real estate, you have bonds, you have all that other stuff. And then Bitcoin's completely separate from that. So if there's no way to win, if Burry doesn't see a way to win this trade over here, it feels like he's saying buy Bitcoin without actually saying buy Bitcoin to me.
Yeah, when you're selling your Bitcoin for dollars, you're literally expecting that pieces of paper will outperform the best asset in the world.
Yeah.
And those pieces of paper can be printed out of thin air. More of them can be created out of nothing. And it seems, I actually saw a chart where it showed after the government shutdown, after the US government shutdown, Bitcoin's price went up a little bit. And then it started trending down. This time it seems like it's the opposite. It's going down after the government opens up again, and then maybe it'll come back up. I mean, it feels like maybe this was it feels like a sell the news event, like the opposite than most of what most people are expecting. Most people are expecting, oh, it'll just go straight up, but it doesn't seem like it's going to do that. I mean, but that's where they rug pull you, right? And that's where Bitcoin goes up like 50% in 3 weeks, and then you're just left behind.
Yeah. Well, I think like with the government shutdown, they're releasing a bunch of I actually only just vaguely heard this. Hey, Jor.
What the hell am I doing here?
uh,
There we go.
they're releasing a bunch of information like jobs reports or something like that. I can't remember which one it was, but they're basically not including unemployment into it because they were shut down. They didn't like have it ready in time or didn't record it or something. And it's like this kind of signals to the market that like we the market doesn't have the information that it needs because it the market is basically just always trading on the Fed's information. And then the Fed also doesn't have the market or doesn't have the information that the market perceives that it needs to. So they see the Fed flying blind right now. At least this is sort of like the general idea here. And all of that signals that something's wrong, right? Like, is it intentional that they don't have these reports? And is it because they're so bad that they don't want to issue them? Um, there's just like clearly so much wrong with with the governments, with the market, with the economy, with the concentration risk in big tech. What do you do about any of this? And to me, you want a sovereign asset that is just like George said, is detached from the other system that we're in, the monetary network that we're in. The only attachment to it is that we currently denominate it in fiat currency. Um,
Which isn't really a
Otherwise,
tie. It's just a
it's sort of more
metric
mental.
that we
It's
use.
yeah, it's more of like a mental tie than an actual tie, right? But yeah, it's like it's completely separate, and you can actually hold it yourself and participate within that monetary network without touching fiat at all. You can peer-to-peer transact. Yeah, that's the asset you want to hold when everything else looks uncertain, in my opinion.
Yeah, and there's a comment there that said paper's done. And that's really how it feels to me right now. Paper's done. And so I would say that regardless of who you are, what country you're in, or anything like that, I would say you pretty much have two options right now. Number one is obviously Bitcoin. That's our top one. But gold is good too. Like gold's real. It's the closest thing to Bitcoin. I mean, to me, Bitcoin is probably 1,000 times more superior when you look at gold versus Bitcoin. But that's okay. Not everybody's there yet. Not everybody. Kind of what we started the show with today is that everybody's kind of at a different point to their life. Like for somebody who's 30 or 40, Bitcoin makes the most sense for me because I grew up with the internet. I see where this is going. I'm going to be around hopefully for another 200 years. Um, but for people who they don't have the income coming in, they don't want to deal with the volatility. They don't want to have to think about when the next bear market's going to be and what life's going to look like for me at that point. Then just hold gold. But the point here is that you should not be holding a significant amount in the stock market or in real estate, in my opinion. Obviously, not the bond market and completely out of crypto. But I think that the point here is that you just want to get hard assets. That's the only way that you're going to survive these next couple of years, regardless of what plays out. Hard assets are going to be your friend, and there's nothing harder than Bitcoin that exists today.
Yeah, I mean the other alternative, right? The safe haven asset is treasury bonds or government debt, and it's just like that is so directly tied to what the government is doing, and you have to have. I mean, you're not protecting yourself against debasement risk. That's basically baked in. So your return is a real negative, like a negative real return because of debasement. It's just that's like the last thing I would want to own personally.
Chat says I'm paid off by big gold. Josh, you haven't visited my channel lately then. This is I'm just trying to say like there's a difference. I think the world's going to find out the lesson between hard assets and paper assets. That's kind of what we're living through right now. That's the best way that I can summarize it.
Stan left a comment there. Left to gold, people like me won't have a chance. Absolutely true. Because what's the minimum requirement if you wanted to buy gold?
Right.
How much do you have to buy? Like if you wanted to buy $10 worth, can you? I don't think you can.
Well, you could buy paper, but that defeats the purpose.
Yeah.
That's the way to fractionalize it. I mean, what is an ounce of gold is
like
what,
4 G's.
Yeah, $4,000, and then that's 30, like basically 30 grams of gold. So a gram of gold, if you could buy a gram,
$150 or so.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty expensive.
Plus somebody like Stan, the one thing that Bitcoin, I think a lot of people overlook is just like how much of the worldwide economy this opens up. Like Stan works with us at Maple Bitcoin. And if we were, if we were on gold, how do you think we would pay Stan? Send him a letter mail with what'd you say, a gram of gold there, or like
Yeah,
a gram of gold over for overseas? It just doesn't work. So the cool thing about Bitcoin is not only is it gonna help countries who need it more than anybody else, but it unlocks a whole worldwide economy. It's a global asset. It's extremely liquid. It's extremely hard asset, and you can send it. You can send it through a freaking QR code that we have on the screen here. Like it's the world we're moving into.
Yeah. Hey, there's a couple of super chats that we got. Grady Gravy sent a couple of them.
Well, we got to give a big shout out to Praetorian here first.
Oh yeah.
Praetorian signed up to be a Maple Bitcoin member on the channel here for 4 months, and he's not even here. So he says, "Good afternoon, fellas. Not able to attend," and he also sent $5 and said, "Thank you for all you do." So big shout out to Praetorian there. Thank you. This is the one you were talking about, Brigitte, Gravy?
There's 3 of them. He sent 3 of them.
Okay, so that looks like they all tie together here. So we got $2 from Grady talking about Zcash. Zcash is a Bitcoin fork, 21 million Zcash halving cycle. Hedge against fiat. Okay. Do you guys have any comments on Zcash? I'm not up to speed with it.
I'll talk about Zcash. I think anybody that's interested in Zcash needs to watch the presentation by Andreas Antonopoulos that is called Bitcoin is the Next Bitcoin. And I think this is the thing that everybody that's interested in altcoins that are attempting to compete for the monetary network, right? There's altcoins, Ethereum, Solana, all these other ones. They are their own thing. They're competing for smart contract platforms. They're not trying to be sound money.
Technologies.
And the ability to do DeFi and NFTs and real world assets tokenized on blockchains, all this bullshit that might or might not have a future and might or might not have a sizable market cap that they can be connected to. And it might or might not actually accrue value to the token itself based on layer 2s and competition from other faster, more centralized blockchains. So Zcash is now being touted as the technology behind it is more of a privacy orientated on the layer 1, right? So it is directly competing or attempting to compete against Bitcoin, but with a privacy additive to it, which is a compelling narrative for somebody that doesn't really understand what's going on in the Bitcoin ecosystem and how protocols dominate. Because as surveillance tech comes along, as government overreach happens, people say, well, you can't have all of my transactions shown on a public blockchain, and I need privacy for my payments. So it's a really compelling narrative if you haven't actually looked deeper into Bitcoin and really the privacy that can happen within there. The major thing they're missing, however, is that protocol dominance happens with monetary networks. And that's what Bitcoin has at this point. It's so dominant at this point that anything else that tries to compete into it cannot compete. So yeah, this let me see. This might be the one. Yes, this is the speech here. So we're gonna paste a Andreas Antonopoulos speech here. But yeah, basically, the other thing here too that Grady Gravy talked about is the Winklevoss twins, right? So they're not the only ones pumping this, but if you look at who is pumping it, the big accounts, they're all venture capitalists. They all got in early. They all got pre-mines. They all got huge allocations. And Zcash at one point was worth like $30,000 a coin. Like, it was insane. Like, it went absolutely nuts and then absolutely to nothing for a very long time. So now that privacy is a narrative that can get latched onto, they're pumping it. They're pumping it hard, and they want to exit. They need buyers, right? They need buyers because they are going to be net sellers. And treasury companies are a narrative as well. So
Sounds a
You know,
lot like XRP to me.
yeah, it kind of
Insiders
is in that way.
insiders getting a bunch of coins right off the hop and never really buying. Like they never take their money that they earn and buy XRP with it because they're sellers. Like Forrest said, they're net sellers there, and they're just running on this fake narrative that's just complete BS for anybody who actually understands Bitcoin.
Yeah, and basically the privacy does not necessarily need to happen on the layer one, and
And
the
it shouldn't, right? But why shouldn't it, Forrest? Because I listened to somebody talk about this and I completely agreed with it. But like, why do we need transparency on layer one?
Well, the point of the point of Bitcoin was not to have anonymous transactions. That's a narrative that is like kind of incomplete, where people just think Bitcoin is for buying and selling drugs and it's to be anonymous online. That was never the intent. The intent was actually to combat the privacy that happens in fiat, in the fiat network system from the Federal Reserve and the central organizers. So it's to actually there again, this is another thing people should realize. If you see a flaw in Bitcoin, ask yourself if it's a flaw. Maybe it's a feature, maybe it's there by design. So the public nature of the Bitcoin blockchain and being able to see transactions is a feature. It's intentional. It's so that everything can be accounted for.
Yes,
and
exactly.
and then additionally, and Bitcoin was designed to be a cash system, and cash can be anonymous, just like Bitcoin can be anonymous. It can be used anonymously if that is desired. And with the additional entrance of layer twos, since SegWit and so on, there's more increased ability to use it privately. The Lightning Network is a completely different system than the way Bitcoin works. It's encrypted, it routes through different nodes, and basically that Bitcoin just looks locked up on the public network, right? So you have no idea the transactions and the value transfers that are happening within those channels on the Lightning Network. So that adds a huge layer of privacy. eCash is another thing that can add privacy, although there's centralization risk with that too. But there's, basically privacy needs to happen on top of something, and it is not the main. If Zcash's main selling feature is that it's private, right? That it has this privacy, this shielded way of being able to sort of hide your transactions within this. That is sort of an additional feature that needs to be added to money. It is not the primary feature of money. I think that is what people are confused about here.
If Zcash is private at the wallet level, then how do you confirm how many Zcash there are?
Exactly. That's the point.
How do you
It's
know
the same
that
as
somebody's not
XRP is
manipulating?
actually a very privacy focused coin too, because you can't see the first 35,000 blocks of it.
I see. I thought this was pretty interesting too. If you look at the market cap, this looks pretty manipulated.
Oh, it's incredibly manipulated. It's like the most obvious manipulation ever. Like it's
This
crazy
kind of
that
growth
people are
doesn't
buying
happen
this.
like overnight,
No.
right? Why is this happening over? Okay, so it happened from September 26th to today, November 14th.
Well,
So why is it
what's
that
the
it happened
market?
over a week or like
What's the market cap? Right, the market cap is 9 billion.
9
Like
billion?
that's so easy to manipulate if
Yeah.
somebody has a huge amount of the coins.
Doesn't this look similar?
Yep. Yeah, this is not natural. People that don't understand markets think that this is fine, but it's it's really not. It's so
Yeah.
obvious that this is manipulative markets, and that there's a huge amount when there's a huge amount of liftoff. There's gravity within the markets, and people are forgetting that gravity is going to affect this, and
Yeah.
that massive gap there in XRP between whatever, who cares, the number there at the end. The market is eventually going to say, hey, are there real buyers and sellers in here? Let's go find out. Let's push the price down and see if anybody actually wants to buy it here.
Yeah. People might say, oh, the supply is fixed. There's 100 billion XRP. But the thing is that, okay, so the supply is fixed, but it's already been handed out to people and now they're selling it into the market.
Yeah.
And because of the design of the network itself, if a certain group or a certain person got control of a lot of those coins, they could essentially change that supply just with a simple fork,
Yeah.
right? And people wouldn't have any choice but to go along with it. And I feel like whether it's XRP, Zcash, they're all the same. They're all just lies. They're scams. That's really what they are. They're just scams, and they are very effective in scamming people out of their hard-earned. Hopefully, nobody's been trading their Sats for Zcash. My goodness,
There definitely are. But
I thought this one was interesting. Like when a lot of people have no idea that this is happening. So in
Mhm.
2021, Solana was at 250. Today it's at 142. But take a look at the market cap. This is pretty crazy. The market cap was 74.4 billion in 2021. Today it's 78 billion, 77 billion or something. But
so
look
how
at
does they printed more of them?
price is down like 40%. So price is down, but market cap is exactly the same. People don't see this. Like they don't understand this.
That's the same thing as fiat, right?
Yeah.
The purchasing power of fiat is down, but the amount of dollars in circulation is up.
Exactly.
The market cap.
Yeah, the market cap of dollars. Yeah, it's the same thing. I'll just say about Zcash and a lot of these other cryptos is they're scams in a sense of trying to extract monetary value out of people, but they're also scams in trying to distract you from the true innovation.
Yeah.
And which is like, it's kind of like a psyop, right? It's an attention scam. It's trying to pull your attention elsewhere. You're now attracted to this asset that they used to have like a $4 billion market cap, which is incredibly insignificant, and now it has, it's grown massively and arguably, well, almost objectively in a very like programmatic unnatural way, like this massive spike, right? So the market cap is a feature of the supply versus the last buyers and sellers. So it can be a manipulated metric. But even still, with this manipulation that's happened, the market cap is still insignificant in this. And if you think that this is going to have the protocol stickiness to be able to compete against Bitcoin, you will be sorely mistaken. Ultimately, in the end, Bitcoin will win out and is winning. It's 60% of the market, like of the total crypto industry. It's 60% of all of the value there. It is, and it's continuing to grow, even though there's also like, Bitcoin dominance, right, is what I'm talking about here. There's like 60% of the crypto market is Bitcoin's market cap. And just like with Solana, where there's more issuance, think about how many more issuance of crypto coins there are, right? Every single day. There's only 450 new Bitcoin being issued, but there's thousands of cryptos being launched every single day. So they're inflating that, and still it does not compete against the market cap of Bitcoin.
There's a comment there from no hype 85, no_hype 85. He said people manipulated Bitcoin and still do. The government doing it right now. So like, what does that even mean? How do people manipulate Bitcoin? Is it just because, like, if you feel like, oh, the price shouldn't be going down when it's going down, that doesn't mean that's manipulated. That just means that people are selling it. More people are selling it than the number of people who are buying it, right? There's this narrative that, oh, there's manipulation. In the stock market, it's different, but with Bitcoin, it's different. With Bitcoin, it's an elastic supply asset. So if somebody wants to sell it into the market and they want to drop the price, go for it. All you have to focus on is accumulating. If you accumulate, that manipulation doesn't really mean anything. It's not even real.
Exactly. That's what we were just talking about, in the sense of like, Bitcoin is completely separate than that whole system. The only thing that ties it together is our mental model of it. But other than that, it's completely detached from it. Like, it's a completely different system. I think that it takes time, I think, to fully understand that, but it's true. And so, people use different strategies and psychologies and whatever you want to call it. But you're right, Rajat. It's like, how do you do that? And at some point, the cool thing about Bitcoin is everything gets flushed out, and they might be able to play some tricks and games for a while. But, history has proven that people who are trying to do that will eventually get flushed out because of how this asset is designed.
Yeah.
And the reason I brought up this mempool here is because this is such an underrated aspect of Bitcoin, in the sense that you have a website that you can go to. Anybody on the planet can go to this website, and you can look at 923,000 634 blocks. Each one of those blocks have thousands of transactions. Every single transaction, every time somebody moved Bitcoin to somebody else on layer 1, that transaction is recorded. And so you can verify the fact that there are this many tokens. You can verify who owns, or not who, but how many sats are in each UTXO set. And you can do this all the way back to the very first block by just typing a 0 in there and seeing the Genesis block. So from 0 to 923,000, any person can audit this themselves. Imagine if you could do this with the Federal Reserve's ledger that they have. Like, that's the cool thing about Bitcoin. And like Forrest said, that's what it was designed to be. It was designed to be a transparent ledger so that everybody can verify the truth. That's what Bitcoin is. It's truth. Yeah. And to me anyways, I feel like the institutions, the central banks, the governments, they're the ones who need transparency. And that's what this does. It brings transparency to the system. And so from my perspective, the people who need transparency, layer 1. For anybody who wants privacy, layer 2, eCash, liquid, whatever it is. There's a whole bunch of different ways where you can kind of cut chains and be a little bit more private on Bitcoin. But there's nobody out there who's being paid. There's no VC funding to tell people this in Bitcoin. So they fall for these XRP, Zcash, BS scams. And it's sad because the average person gets hurt.
Yeah. And I would also say in response to that comment as well, that the price manipulation is one of the lower sort of problems with something like Zcash. And I would also say that the fiat price manipulation does happen with Bitcoin, but it happens within these time periods of consolidation. So, and the problem with price manipulation is that it tricks the average person, right? It tricks them into thinking, oh, we're going to hit all-time highs when it's just a flush out. We're going to hit, we're going way lower, but really it's just a leverage flush out, right? So this is kind of, price manipulation does happen. And I would just say it's incredibly transparent and obvious and tricks people into the inverse position that they should be in, essentially. So just as the price of Bitcoin's dropping wildly right now, this is going to trick people into selling when it should actually be probably a time for them to buy, right? So that's a problem with any market, right? There's going to be big sellers and big whales in any market that can manipulate price to benefit them to some degree.
They're manipulating minds.
Yes,
that's what they're doing. They're manipulating people's minds, and that's what's happened pretty much since birth to us, so we should be used to it by now. We just hit 600 people on the chat, boys. Wow. 600. And that doesn't even include the people over on Nostr, and there's a good crew over on Nostr today. So quick little break here, boys. We got a couple big zaps to report to that QR code right beside Forrest's head there. It feels weird being at the bottom of this little pyramid here. But anyways, we got 10,903 sats from somebody anonymously. Said, just got back from Bitcoin Amsterdam. Very uplifting experience meeting other Bitcoiners. Wow.
Cool.
That's amazing. Thank you for the sats. That's a very generous zap there. And Alex sent in 3,690 sats to the Koinos wallet. So thank you, Alex. And we got a couple big zaps over on Nostr as well. Canon zap 420, Necro zap 420, Yakimi zapped 21, Plural zapped 63, and Duncan just zapped 21.
Oh, Jor froze.
Yeah, I think he froze. I think he's the one who froze because I can't see him either.
Yeah, and I can hear you still. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Jor's cut off. Oh, Jor, you're back.
What happened?
Last zap you were reading off was 21.
Oh, 2100.
Mm.
We got 21, 63, 2100, and Plural just zapped 630. So what I said was those sats are very, very much appreciated, and they're going straight to the Maple Bitcoin Reserve. So God bless. Where do we go from here, boys?
We gotten all the well, there's one more question, one more super chat from Grady. Again, it's more Zcash stuff, but send a super chat, so maybe we should address it. Zcash, not Bitcoin competitor. It's a complementary asset. This makes absolutely no sense, in my opinion. A complementary asset would be a layer 2 that directly pegs in and actually uses Bitcoin, which this just makes no sense at all. Sorry.
Yeah. How many chairs are you sitting on, Forrest?
One. Yeah. So like when you if you buy Zcash, you are making an active choice to leave the network of Bitcoin to buy Zcash. You cannot own the same amount of purchasing power of both. Like you're choosing one over the other. It's not like having a MySpace account and a Facebook account. You can have those two things at the same time, and they're not costing you anything extra to do so. There's no switching costs. When you're moving from protocol to protocol, you are there's a cost to that. So it is not complementary.
It's crazy. There's way too many people who think that the next year is gonna be a bear market. Like they think it's
insane, man. It's actually crazy.
But they don't see that they're like part of. They don't see that they're part of the majority of people.
Yeah.
The majority of people are always wrong. Like they're never gonna be right because
the
majority of people don't think that Bitcoin is going to wherever it's going. They sell as a result of Bitcoin going down, and they buy as a result of Bitcoin going up, and they haven't really studied it. But that's the thing. Bitcoin does not give a shit about your feelings. It doesn't care. Yeah. Even like when people say, oh, it's manipulated, it's just because it's doing something that they don't expect it to do. So if Bitcoin starts going up in 2026, are people going to say, oh, it's manipulated? Right? Like I think that's the thought process here. No matter what happens, if they don't believe what should be happening is happening, they think it's manipulated. That's all it is. You can say whatever you want to. Oh, companies are manipulating, whales are manipulating it, and that's perfectly fine. All it is, that's literally all it is buying and selling. If more Bitcoin is available to be bought, that makes the price go down. If fewer Bitcoin are available to be bought, that makes the price go up in the short term. And in the short term, anything can happen. In the long term, because Bitcoin has a finite supply, the supply runs out at every single price. 10, 20, 30 years from now, you're going to see, $95,000 Bitcoin. Wow, I can't even buy 10,000 Satoshis for that amount. Right? That's just how it is. You can see, 2-3 years ago when XRP or when FTX collapsed, I was going to say when XRP collapsed. When FTX collapsed, you could buy one whole Bitcoin for 15 grand. Right? And at that time, people were saying, "Oh, it's going to 0. It's going to 11K. It's going to 10K. It's going to 6K." That's what people were saying. That they see whatever's happening in the market and they just believe that that's what's going to continue to happen. But that's not what happens. When sentiment is at its worst, is when everybody has run out of Bitcoin to sell. That's the bottom of the market. That's when the sentiment is the worst. When sentiment is the best, that's when the buyers have run out, and then the price starts coming down. And
that's
then
a good way to put it, yeah.
Right, but people don't see it that way. They don't see how the market works. They think that retail investors know everything. No, retail investors don't know shit. Honestly, they don't know shit. When I was working at TD, it was 2017, 2018. That was when the weed stocks popped.
Yeah.
Every retail investor was like, "Oh yeah, I want to buy one share of weed. I want to buy one share of this. I want to buy one share of that." And keep in mind that the commissions at the time were $10 per share, and people were like, "Oh yeah, don't worry, it'll triple, it'll quadruple in price, and I'll make $20." But most retail investors have no clue what they're doing, and that's exactly what's happening here. They think that Bitcoin is manipulated. It's this, it's that. It's not. It's just there's a lot of people selling, and that's perfectly fine. That's normal. That's how Bitcoin is redistributed. If Bitcoin isn't redistributed, then we wouldn't be able to buy what we're buying.
Yep. Bingo.
It's true.
I heard somebody say once, basically ask yourself what you think you should do and then do the opposite of that.
Yeah.
Because your initial gut is going to be with the herd.
Yeah. I want to sell right now because I think, it's going to go lower. Like deep in my mind, I'm thinking, I want to sell. Because I think it's going to go, what if it goes to 60K? What if it goes to 40K? What if it goes to 10K? And I can buy way more. If I have, let's say if I sell like a certain amount of Bitcoin today, I can buy 7 times, 10 times more Bitcoin later in the future. But if it was that easy, then everybody would be doing it. Why isn't Bitcoin's price at 0?
Yeah. And I think the last thing I'd say on this part is like, if you are somebody who believes that there's going to be a bear market in 2026, just ask yourself why, and be honest with yourself too. Like, ask yourself why that is. Is it because that's what has historically happened for the 15 years that Bitcoin's been around? Like, Bitcoin's not even close to anything that has ever existed in human history before. So understand that first part.
Yeah.
But ask yourself, if you can actually answer the question of why you think Bitcoin's going to be in a bear market for 2026, other than just because that has happened so far, then I'm all ears. But I haven't heard a good answer to why there's actually going to be a bear market in 2026, other than because the chart told me so.
It's supposed to happen. There's a comment from Bitcoin Baby here. He said, these are the same guys that tell you to sell your rental property and buy Bitcoin when your rental property can be fuel for your Bitcoin buying. LMAO, these guys have to keep up with being a Bitcoin influencer. I'm not a Bitcoin influencer. I don't care if you like my opinions on this. I really don't give a shit. You don't have to
Boom.
buy Bitcoin if I tell you to. Don't buy it, if anything. Make the
Boom.
price go lower so I can get more.
Boom.
Sell what you have, right? I don't care if you buy. But the people who have bought Bitcoin, I've had multiple calls with people, one-on-one calls with people. There was a guy who had 15 rental properties. He sold 10 of them. He doesn't care about the price. What he cares about is the fact that he has a savings tool. Now he doesn't have to manage those rental properties.
Yeah. Another thing I would add too is, people are worried about when to buy and when to sell Bitcoin and stuff, but you can buy the top. You can buy the top, and if you hold long enough, you'll be right. And this kind of comes back to other things we've said, which is, when Bitcoin's $1 million, you're not going to care if you bought it 100,000 or 125,000 or 90,000. Everyone's going to be like, wow, you got lucky. That's what they're going to be saying to you at that point, right? It's not going to matter if you bought the top, some local top. Look at all the previous tops. They're
Yeah, I'll speak from experience here before, because I actually did sell my rental home to buy Bitcoin, and I bought the last top. So I'm tying both of these into here. And I remember when I had that rental home, I got a call. It was either on New Year's Eve or Christmas Eve. So, the tenant told me that the basement had flooded. She flushed kitty litter down the toilet when it was minus 50 degrees here in the prairies. And so me and my buddy had to go haul out, cut the carpet full of pee and poop when it's minus 50. And I'll tell you what, since I sold my rental house and bought Bitcoin, I haven't got any phone calls from tenants. And probably by the time in the last 6 years, I probably would have had to replace the roof, the water heater, the deck, all these things. I haven't had to do any of that. And my investment, even though I bought the top at the time, it's about half of what the price is today. So we're not making this stuff up. This comes from real life experience of doing this. And it turned out to be a pretty good bet. So, I mean, I don't know why we're paying any sort of attention to Bitcoin Baby. He or she's just the local, the troll around here, which everybody needs. But anyways, what do you got here, Rajat?
Oh, I wanted to say, when in doubt, just zoom out, right? You can see here, price is down 15.79%. But what's it at in the last year? It's up 6.18%. Not that much, but it's still up. 5 years, it's up 495% max. Right? When in doubt, zoom out. Stop thinking about the short term. This is what you're scared of. This part right here.
How much different does this chart? How much different does this chart look than XRP, Zcash, Solana?
Let's see.
Dude, the straight line up is so funny.
Straight line up, straight line down.
Oh my god.
Like, they're different things. They're much different things. That's what people don't get. They just look at the last month and year. That's the theme of this thing, is that the herd thinks in months. But the people who want to build an actual empire and provide wealth for their family for the next 5 or 6 generations and beyond, they think in decades. So that's all you need to know. Those are much different charts. One's going up and down. One's going up, then down, then up even more, then down a little bit, then up even more consistently. You can spot a trend there. You can look at this chart and spot a trend of where do you think it's going to go from here. Those other ones is just a complete mess.
Yeah.
Like, what are you supposed to do with that?
Yeah, I mean, it's trading sideways basically, but in a 10-year time frame.
I think one thing that the people who say, oh, you can use your rental property, you can get your rental income and you can buy Bitcoin with it. Let's say, for example, your rental property is worth 5 Bitcoin today, and it's all just equity. It's just you bought it, you paid it off. Now it's just equity. Today you can buy 5 Bitcoin. If you don't sell that property and you just wait for the rental income to buy you Bitcoin, you're never going to be able to buy 5 Bitcoin, right? Because the rental income
Never.
is going to keep decreasing in terms of Bitcoin. So if you get the accumulate it if you get the aggregate amount today, maybe that'll be worth 5 Bitcoin. But over the next few years, you're gonna be able to get fewer and fewer sats every single year, every few years.
And
That's what
people
people don't get. They don't get the math.
people really have to understand what a store of value is and what people have used as store of value since 1971, since the dollar broke. That's been the stock market and that's been real estate. And so a lot of this is completely clueless investing. A lot of the houses out there, there's nobody living in them anymore.
Yeah.
And so everything's being repriced in Bitcoin. All of this happened before Bitcoin was even around or understood for that matter too. But all that capital that was a store of value without the headache, without the stress, without all the leaks, without the property tax, with all the other BS, as more and more people figure out Bitcoin, that capital's flowing from the stock market, from real estate into Bitcoin, which if you understand supply and demand at all and scarcity, it's not even a question at this point.
The real estate investors is that meme of the child being held up dunking the ball in the hoop there, thinking that they're genius investors, right? When in fact it's money debasement that has just lifted them up to make them be able to dunk the basketball. It's you're keeping up with debasement. You have a subsidized loan that is backstopped by the government, and you're leveraged to the tits on an asset that's falling apart, right? And if you buy this thing with a 30-year mortgage, you buy a brand new home, you now are trying to sell a 30-year-old home. Why would it be worth more, right?
Exactly.
You know, like the only reason it's worth more is because the dollars have gone down.
Yeah. And so if we go back to this chart here, you can see at one point in 2011, of course, most of the people here probably didn't have Bitcoin then, but one house was worth 64,000 Bitcoin. Back then, people were probably like, "Oh no, you're stupid to do that. Why don't you just hold on to the house and collect your rental income?" You would never get 64,000 Bitcoin with that rental income.
No.
Right. And at a point, it dropped to 288 Bitcoin. At this point, people were probably like, "Oh yeah, your house is worth so little in terms of Bitcoin. You should get rid of it and go back to the house." And maybe you felt stupid for a little while because at some point your house was now worth 1,300 Bitcoin. But then again, there was another low. The way that this works is that you only get lower lows and lower highs in every other asset when priced in Bitcoin. And that'll continue forever. Like this trend is not going to reverse. It's not like somehow more Bitcoin are going to be printed and added to the economy and fewer houses are going to be printed and added to the economy. You can literally pay somebody to make another house for you if you want to.
Yep.
You can't do that with Bitcoin.
And that's probably the way that the world is going.
Yeah.
You know, it probably will get easier and easier. I mean, technology will affect that. You know, easier regulations might affect that. There's so many variables with this, and the whole time you're maintaining this, and it's the difference between like buying a business and buying sound money. It's like to come out ahead with real estate, you have to be running it as a business, and it's a completely different asset. Like,
Yeah.
as Jor talked about, like the nightmare stories that I've heard from every landlord ever, it just makes it seem like, hey, I mean, some people might like that business, but I don't want to have to run a real estate holding company that rents out, and when you could just hold money and do nothing and just spend your time and effort and all the headache on skills that you actually want to do, right?
Yeah.
How many people have you guys seen saying in the last, let's say, couple years? Have you seen any Bitcoiners say, you know what, I'm tired of Bitcoin, I'm going to go into real estate? Versus, how many people have you actually talked to? Not just read tweets or seen videos, but how many people have you actually talked to that have said, I'm getting out of real estate, I'm buying Bitcoin?
Tons.
That's a
A
trend.
lot.
Right?
Yeah.
And you were talking about something there, Forrest, and it triggered something in my brain that thought, Bitcoin is the only thing that's immune from technology, because as technology improves, they're going to be able to make everything quicker and cheaper. Everything. Houses, they're going to be able to find more gold more efficiently. Products, laptops, phones, everything. Technology is going to make everything cheaper and faster. But except Bitcoin. Technology is the one thing that does not, or Bitcoin is the one thing that technology improvements do not affect. Because even if we got way more efficient, which we went from mining Bitcoin on laptops to spitting out 1 sextillion hashes per second in 15 years. But the average block time, we haven't been able to get Bitcoin any quicker. And that's, if you can understand that, that's it. You're done.
Mm-hmm.
Bitcoin's the only thing that's immune from technology.
Yeah. Yeah, and we'll probably see in the chat a bunch of comments about quantum, but that's something that literally doesn't exist in any meaningful way at this point. So you're talking about a fairy tale, which may, maybe fairy tales do come true sometime, but we'll address that closer to when it actually looks like that could be a problem. And again, Bitcoin is software, so Bitcoin can change to compensate for technology that could affect it. But yeah, as George just said, like the technology that's affecting Bitcoin right now is just increasing the hash rate. And because of the difficulty adjusting for that increase in hash rate, it doesn't make Bitcoin get produced any faster. And it actually just makes it more and more difficult for anybody to attack Bitcoin in any meaningful way through like a 51% attack, right? The network is getting stronger because of technology. Like it's an anti-fragile system, which means that when something attacks it, it actually gets stronger, not weaker from that attack.
Wild.
Yeah.
Wild to think about. We got some
super chats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
First of all, shout out to Merchant here. I don't have a question. There's just support and a sense of being convinced. Thank you. Josh sent $199. The real complement to Bitcoin is non-KYC Bitcoin, not Zcash. Yep.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, that's like the layer one way of interacting with Bitcoin privately. There's a real push from regulation to make it harder and harder to do. But if you peer-to-peer interact with Bitcoin, there needs to start to being some assumptions from somebody overlooking the public blockchain and your activity with it. And those assumptions are pretty, create this layer of privacy within there just naturally. So yeah, that is the compliment.
This is the super chat of the year so far. I left my wife because of Bitcoin. What the hell am I supposed to do now? Do you have a good answer, Rajat?
Buy more Bitcoin.
I left my wife because of Bitcoin. I'd like to hear that full story, actually.
Yeah,
Maybe
no
we should
doubt.
have this guy on. What does he mean left his wife because of Bitcoin?
He messaged a few weeks or maybe a couple of months ago as well. Do you guys remember?
I do remember that. Yeah. I forget what he said exactly, but it was something similar.
They're making new women every day. They're not making any more Bitcoin though. Nav, sorry guys, missed this. Was watching Sailor do a pod with Grant Cardone. Really good watch if you've lost hope for MSTR. Okay. Nav, I believe was, oh no, that was Praetorian. Sorry. No, I thought it was Praetorian. Nav are always big supporters of the show here. So that's Grant Cardone. So both Gary and Grant are pretty known as real estate moguls for the last couple decades, are now pretty heavily into Bitcoin. That should be some sort of a signal, I think, for anybody who's been deeply embedded into the real estate and they're choosing Bitcoin over real estate. I mean, stuff isn't rocket science or rocket appliances, as Ricky would say on Trailer Park Boys.
Yeah, I mean, Grant Cardone had this home. I think it was affected maybe by the Palisades fire or something like that, or maybe some flood or something. It was this $10 million mansion in somewhere in California, and basically there was like I'm forgetting the story slightly, but the insurance costs are going to go crazy up high and making the price of the real estate go down, because obviously the new buyer is going to account for increased costs to own this thing.
Right.
And it's you know, these are the unforeseen variables in something like real estate that make it a much riskier asset than the vast majority of people assume real estate is.
I mean, people, if you're somewhat uneducated on real estate stuff, I think a really good place to start is actually figuring out how they calculate property taxes. Because the average person does not understand how property taxes are figured out. And it's 100% based on the value of your house. So as they print more dollars, the value of your house goes up artificially, and you have to pay more of an expense every year because of that. Like it's so sickening. The whole system itself is just sick. So that's a good place to start in terms of like property taxes, and also try not paying your property taxes for a couple of years and see how that goes.
Yeah, see if
Have
you
you
still
guys-
own your home.
Yeah. Have you guys seen this video from Grant Cardone? Let me share it. It's actually pretty interesting.
Oh, yeah, I did see this.
So everybody, let's let everybody watch it. Let me know if the sound works. I think this is really interesting because he's completely flipping his opinion on real estate. So let me know if the sound works.
Mortgage, if you're worried about it, you shouldn't be. 50-year mortgage is not the problem. Okay, it could be 100 years, whether it's 30 years, 15 years, 30 years, 50 years, 40 years. Pick your number, dude. Problem's not how long the mortgage is. The problem is the investment itself. It's the asset you're putting money in. Okay, look, a house is not an asset. It's a liability. This plane has a better chance of making me money than a house ever does, because it gets me someplace, right? It gets me someplace. It gets me there fast. It buys time. What does a house do? Okay, maybe over 30 or 40 or 50 years, maybe it appreciates enough to provide you and your family with equity. At best, that's a savings account. But if you took the savings part out of it, added inflation, you'd realize, dude, it's a shitty investment. It's a liability. So don't get all cranked up about it, whether it's 30 years or 50 years or shit. They could do 100 years. Okay. It's just a place to live. Don't think that it's going to be a place that makes you money, because it probably won't. And if you do make money on your house, it's because you got lucky. You can say I'm wrong. You can hate on me. Oh my God, it's the American dream. Everybody should buy a house. Everybody should own a house. Oh my God, everybody should be entitled to own a home. You're never going to own it. Okay, you go pay cash for that house right now today. Go pay $440,000 for that little house that looks just like that other house in the same neighborhood. You still have property taxes, still have maintenance, you got upkeep, you got furniture, you got issues, and it never stops. You got a roof that's going to go bad, gutters that are going to go bad, siding that's going to have to be painted, and it's endless. And heaven forbid that the major employer in your market leaves, and the next thing you know, your house isn't even worth what you paid for it. So look, the 50-year mortgage is not the issue. The 50-year mortgage is simply going to make it about $300 less a month. I think every 500 grand, 50 years drops the payment about $300. Again, that's not the issue. Okay, you shouldn't be investing in a home. You shouldn't be buying a home. Okay, particularly on the way up. If you haven't accumulated your wealth yet, what you should be doing is investing your money in your business, in your self-improvement, in things that can go up in value. You should be investing that money that you'd use for a down payment. Invest that into something that can grow you, grow your business, or maybe you invest in somebody else's business because you believe in the player, you believe in the founder, you believe in the direction of the company. There's a handful of great stocks out there that'll always return you more money than your house will. God bless, be great. 50-year ain't the issue.
Yeah, like if Grant Cardone is saying you shouldn't buy houses, I think that's a sign, because he's built his
100%.
whole career on houses. Like how many houses this guy have? He has thousands of rental properties.
Mm-hmm.
This guy bought 953 Bitcoin with his cash flows from the last month, something along those lines. It's crazy, but like I think he wants to be on the right side of history.
Yeah, good on him. I see that as a huge trend in the coming decades here, because we just talked about the technology aspect and the change it's having on the world. Imagine I think of a small town that's about an hour from here, and they had a huge pig, what's it called? pig
slaughtering,
hog plant, whatever.
Pig
They make
slaughtering.
bacon there.
Oh,
They slaughter
Oh, I
pigs
see.
and make
Completely.
bacon there.
wait, what are you talking about?
A town.
Oh, okay.
They had this huge hog barn go up
Oh.
there about a decade ago, and it brought so much investment into the town. It brought so many people into the town, and I just see technology. All those people, that the reason why all the real estate went up and they started, the economy was booming there, is because of this plant, and because all the humans had to relocate to this town because of this plant to work at the factory. But with technology, with robotics, all of those humans are going to be out of a job in a decade from now. And so real estate isn't always going to go up, because what happens when that plant switched from humans to robotics? Half the town's going to leave. They moved there specifically for that job. They didn't choose to live there. It was they moved there for the job. And when they don't have a job anymore, they're going to move somewhere else. So the real estate market in that exact town is going to go like this. And somebody might have a $500,000 mortgage and their house might be worth $250K now. And that's just one small town in my area, but there's so many examples of that. And that's essentially what Grant said there. He's like, when the industry moves away from your town, there's no guarantee that your house is going to be worth what it is today in 10 years from now.
Yeah, and you know what the crazy thing is? That so at one point, I think you could buy a house for, I think one house was in the US was worth like 3.5 Bitcoin, maybe a month ago when it hit the top in October. Now it's 4.5 Bitcoin. So the average person is probably thinking, oh yeah, it's going to go to 5, it's going to go to 6, it's going to go to 7, Bitcoin's going to 0. But then the people who are actually informed, they realize that this is a way for you to, this is a time for you to get out. This is a time for you to get out of housing, because at some point, like the average person thinks it's going to go to 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The Bitcoiner understands it's going to 3, then it's going to 2, then it's going to 1, then it's going to 0.5. There's no bottom. It can literally go to 1 Satoshi. And even then it'll continue to fall, because houses can be printed out of thin. You can create more houses, but you can't create more Bitcoin.
And somebody might hear that and say, you guys are batshit crazy. You're going to be able to buy a house for 1 sat? Who knows? Because if you look at the block rewards today, 3.125 Bitcoin is about $350,000 worth of purchasing power. And in 110 years from now, that same block reward is going to be what, 1 sat?
Yeah.
So that's historically, that's what's happened. I don't know if it'll happen in the future, but there's no reason why it wouldn't. It's just, how long is your time frame? How long are you thinking about this?
People are seeing that video as, oh, he's trying to sell you a course, he's trying to get you to rent from him, he's trying to do this and he's trying to do that. That's not what I got from it. What I got from it is he owns real estate already, and he can use that real estate to buy more Bitcoin. He can use the cash flows, he can borrow against the real estate, he can do all this stuff to buy Bitcoin. But the average person doesn't already have thousands of rental properties. So if you're going to put your capital into one rental, let's say, for example, you want to buy a $500,000 house, 20% down, that's essentially 1 Bitcoin, right? And if you put that 1 Bitcoin towards that rental property, you're not going to be able to get that 1 Bitcoin back for a very long time, or ever. By the time you have enough equity to take on a HELOC on the house, you can take on a HELOC for 80%. Your equity has to grow to a certain level. By the time that happens, you're not going to be able to buy a Bitcoin with that equity.
You're priced out.
Way less.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We have 700 people here, boys, right now. Sorry, Forrest. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think, what I got from that video was that, the 50-year mortgage doesn't make a difference. Basically, it's not the problem. The investing in real estate, and when you factor in everything, doesn't make sense. It's doesn't matter if you get a 30 or 50-year mortgage. It's just going to lose out compared to assets that are actually appreciate in value. Like a large part of the reason that real estate has worked for people is, like, you can literally, like, in some jurisdictions, you can write off real estate depreciation, which is the value of that real estate going down, and that becomes a tax benefit. People are saying it's an asset, then why is its value being written down year after year? It's because it's getting older, it's getting worse, and it's depreciating. It's depreciating. Exactly. Exactly. And part of, like, the fact that you can do that with real estate, that means it's subsidized. Like that's part of it trying to that's part of the government trying to subsidize real estate investment and home ownership. What if that goes away? What if they say, you know what, we actually want real estate prices to go down. Let's just remove this subsidy that we have on here, and therefore it will make it go down, right? There's so many sketchy variables with real estate. Anyway.
All right,
Yeah.
should we talk about the community just
Let's
to
do
end
it.
it off? We're almost at time.
Yeah, we had wow, what a turnout today. We got 700 people in here right now, not including Noster even. Probably 1,000 messages and comments and questions that we missed. So every Friday we do this live stream, same time, 2 p.m. Eastern time. And every Friday we also have a Maple Bitcoin happy hour, it's called. So we have a private community over on School. And so if you had a question, if there's a topic, if there's something that's been bothering you in Bitcoin, there's no better way to, get it across than us. There's 700 people in here in the happy hour. There's going to be 30. So just think about your chances of getting to chat and to get your question in there. So do you guys have the link there for it, or do you have your? Oh, sorry,
I have to.
So you can join very easily here. We did raise the price as promised after last week. We went from 27, I think, to 30, and probably in December we'll bump it up again. So the cool thing is that you can actually lock in the rate, whatever you join at. So if there's people right now who are paying, I think, less than $20 because that's when they joined. So that's how it is. So you're going to lock in that membership rate going forward. You can buy a lifetime membership too, but it's just it's an incredible community. We got 176 members in there right now. It's growing every week, and people from all over the world getting value from it. So you can scan that QR code. You can join us. I don't have a beer today, unfortunately, but we're still going to have some fun over there. We just have some great chats, and you get access to all the recorded ones too. How many do we have in there so far? We just looked at the yesterday.
Let me share it. So we have 17 or 16.
16
Nice.
videos.
Today's going to be 17. But these are just the happy hours. We also have the master classes, which are even better.
Yep. And that's School's the only place you're going to find that stuff. So there's 7 or 8 there. We're doing more every week or every month. And we got some really exciting things coming there. So it's one of those things you just want to get there early, obviously for the lower rate, but also just to meet other Bitcoiners, to grow your trust, because in a world without middlemen, I think it's important to have these relationships, and a network is a big part of it. So that's what we're providing here. And we've been very fortunate so far, and we are appreciative of the support that people have given us for doing this every week. So part of it, we don't have any sponsors on this channel. You notice we just did an hour and a half just talking. There was no influence. There was no sponsors. There was no BS. And so this is kind of a way that if you want to join, it's a good way to support the Maple Bitcoin boys and keep this train on the tracks.
Awesome. Okay, we'll see you guys over there.
Okay. Well, thanks, everybody. Thanks, Rajat. Thanks, Forrest. And thanks, everybody in the chat. If you have any questions, make sure you join and have a one-on-one chat with us over there. You can even turn your video on if you want to. So thanks, fellas. We'll see you same time next week.